of course going to use the number 3 Grabby, which I use like almost every time. And I may use this this 14 round from this new set. And this is the 14 that I usually use. It's just from Master Touch from Hobby Lobby. But regardless of which one I use, it will be a number 14 round. And I'm definitely going to use a Posca pen to make the whites in this fox pop, because sometimes they get lost. Here we go. So I just took a regular number 2 pencil and I sketched him out. I realized as I started painting that my sketch was pretty dark. So I think in the future I'm going to, after I sketch, I'm going to take an eraser and slide it over and sort of erase some of it and make it lighter. So I'm putting the first layer, and I am using the metallics of this palette because there's this beautiful copper metallic that I want underneath around his eyes, because he's got this beautiful orangey red copper color around his eyes, and I love it. And this metallic one is a little bit, the copper is a little bit more toward pink, but I wanted it to be sort of shimmery, so I'm going to layer on top of that with more of a browny copper, I guess. And now I'm using this really beautiful metallic. It's kind of like a gray blue. And I just dropped it on his eyes because I think that's going to be a fantastic color for the background of his eyes. So now you're going to see, if you look over in my palette area, I have used the black in the Grabby palette to the point that it is gone. So I had to open another palette that I had squeezed some tube watercolor paints in, and I'm using the black off of that one, and you can see that there. It's just a big dried dollop of black watercolor paint that comes in a tube. So I'm using that because my Grabby one is just empty. And I'm just sort of putting in what I see, the black of the shadow inside his little ears, and trying to make it so that it looks like his white fur is over the top and creating that shadow. So now I'm just dropping in the pupils of his eyes, and I'm trying to figure out, because this picture, it's not a lot of detail in his eyes, and I'm looking at it and I'm kind of thinking, did I make the pupils more like cat eyes, or are fox eyes almost like cat eyes? And I really am not sure, so I'm gonna change the eyes a couple different times. So now I'm just trying to make his little snout here, and now you're gonna see, remember I said that copper color was a little too pink, so I dipped in some deep brown, and I'm just going over that copper with the brown, just to sort of take out that overwhelming pink color, but still it will have that shimmery metallic behind it. So now I'm just adding the brown on his nose, and then on the bridge of his nose where it's lighter, I just used a clean wet brush, and I just picked up the color after depositing it before it dried. And I'm darkening around his eyes. I find that I'm going to have to, like every time I paint, I'm going to have to do layers and layers and layers around his eyes to build up that depth that I really want. And now I'm noticing that I've got to somehow, I want to leave the like ploofs around his furry ploofs, the white around his, on his cheeks, just white of the paper. But so I'm going to have to add some dimension using gray. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm sort of trying to shadow, and I'm messing and adjusting with the shape of his face an awful lot because I just can't get it right. And when you're painting, I encourage you guys, as I always do, don't give up if you're like, it's not looking right, it's not coming out the way I want. Don't give up. Just keep manipulating and working with it. And yes, you can absolutely overwork a watercolor painting, but in most cases, if you don't give up, you can reshape and you'll start to love it. And this one, I was just, I don't know if you guys watched the last painting when I was painting the hedgehog, but I had the same problem here as I did with the hedgehog. The shape around him was just not, it just wasn't working for me. So now I'm going to try to not reshape him, but sort of ask the lighter colors of his ears to pop out by dropping in a background that's a little bit darker. So all of a sudden now the shape of his ears is going to come out. See, when I just put that, and I'm putting this metallic green. So at the end, when I take the tape off, you'll see that the background is shimmery. So now I'm just trying to add some little detail, trying to figure out how to give him a little bit more depth in that white. I struggle, some people struggle when they're painting fur that's black, and I am the opposite. I struggle when painting fur that is white. And now I just tried to drop in some whiskers and I was unhappy with how that went. So I'm trying to clean it up and then I decided my whites really need to pop, so out comes the Posca pen. And the Posca pen is, if you haven't used one before, it's just a paint pen, and it covers over watercolors really well. And so it allows you to have white that pops. So I'm trying to now sort of re-fuzzy up his cheeks because I muddled them up when I was trying to add in this guy's little whiskers. So now I'm like, I gotta reshape his head somehow. So I'm using a darker copper to say maybe his cheeks are too square, so I'm trying to reshape that. And then I'm finding that now his head is too wide. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to use this green to sort of carve in and make his chest not so wide. And as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's okay. We're doing this. It's coming along. I made his chest a little thinner. And now I'm using that Posca paint, but what I did is I put it out on a piece of paper and I dipped my brush. So I'm using the white Posca paint, but not straight out of the pen. I'm using it with a brush to create little sort of wispies here. And now I'm darkening around his eyes with the black, and I'm at the sort of end of the painting, and I'm just looking around and trying to figure out how can I make him, how can I just add a little bit of detail here and there to make it pop. So I'm adding more layers in, and I'm just with different colors that I see in my reference photo. And I'm finding, when I do this, I'm finding that I was staring at it for so long that I didn't realize that like he needed to be much darker around his eyes. And then I was happy. After I darkened it once again around his eyes, I felt a lot better about it. So now I'm looking at it and I'm like, why does it feel not right? And I'm just like struggling and I'm not sure. And I was really like, oh, what can I do to make it look better? And then I realized, I think he needs to have rounder, like cheek fluffies. The bottom was a little bit too like rigid and square. So I took the Posca paint and I just gave him a little bit of fuzziness like down toward the bottom of his cheeks and rounded it out. And now he's just a little bit softer. And I just liked that a lot more. I always get happy when I find a solution and I'm like, yay! So now I'm just going around and adding little white wispy fur around any areas that are very rigid. And I'm just trying to pick up maybe some of the paint on the bridge of his nose so that his nose looks like it's coming out a little bit more. And there he is. And I signed him. I think I accidentally signed him off camera while he was drawing, but you can see there on his back my signature. And I'm pulling off the tape, having a little bit of trouble with the tape this time. Oh my goodness, look at him. He's a French fox, I decided. I decided he's French and his name is Laurent. That's what I decided. I mean, he has to have a name, obviously. Look at those deep eyes. He's precious. And his little tiny mouth. See, you can see the metallic in his eyes as I turn it. His eyes are metallic. See? Oh, yes. Thank you guys so much for painting with me today. I hope you enjoyed Laurent. See you next time.